Episode 33. The Departure. The first morning after accepting destiny felt surprisingly ordinary. Dex stood at the viewport in their quarters, watching maintenance drones service the station's outer hull. The irony wasn't lost on him. 72 hours ago, he'd been one of those invisible workers. Now he was preparing to leave everything familiar behind to chase ancient mysteries across the galaxy. "You're doing it again," Elara said softly from the doorway. He turned to find her watching him with that knowing expression. Doing what? Filtering down from 17 dimensions to 3. She crossed to him, sliding her arms around his waist. "I can feel it through our connection. You're looking at probability streams." Dex exhaled, letting his perception relax slightly. She was right. He'd been unconsciously scanning futures, watching the branching paths that led from this moment. Most converged toward the same destination. The Nightingale departing in 3 days, bound for the compass of compassion. "Hard not to," he admitted. 3 weeks until we reach it. 3 weeks to prepare for something that breaks most people within hours. "Then we'd better use those 3 weeks well." Elara's voice carried quiet determination. "Starting with breakfast. Garrett's already in the commissary with real coffee. He says if you're leaving the galaxy, you're doing it properly caffeinated." Dex smiled despite his nerves. "He brought Earth coffee again?" "He brought a lot of things. Come see." The commissary was busier than yesterday. 0800 shift change meant personnel from 3 departments cycling through. But the corner booth where Garrett sat was conspicuously empty, a 5-meter bubble of space around the grizzled maintenance supervisor. Garrett looked up as they approached, his weathered face creasing into a grin. "There's the galaxy's most reluctant hero. Sit before people start taking hollows." Dex slid into the booth, acutely aware of the stares following him. Half the commissary watched with admiration, the other half with suspicion. He'd destroyed ultimate power. Some saw wisdom, others saw threat. "Coffee," Garrett said, sliding a steaming mug across the table. "Real beans from Brazil, not that synthesized crap. And before you ask, yes, I'm bribing you. Bribing me for what?" "To remember you're still human." Garrett's expression turned serious. "You're about to spend 3 weeks in transit, then face an artifact that shows every consequence of every choice across infinite futures. Easy to forget the simple things matter too." Elara squeezed Dex's hand under the table. "He's right. We need to stay grounded. Which is why I brought these." Garrett pulled a data chip from his pocket. 6 years of maintenance logs. Every repair you made, every system you kept running, every junction you crawled through at 0300 because something needed fixing. Dex stared at the chip. "Why?" "Because that's who you are underneath all this seeker business." Garrett's voice roughened. "You're the kid who spent 6 years paying attention to details everyone else missed, who fixed things instead of breaking them, who stayed invisible because you thought small was safe." The words hit harder than expected. Dex took the chip with shaking fingers. "Thank you." "Don't thank me yet. I'm also making you promise something." Garrett leaned forward, his gaze intense. "When you're out there facing tests designed to break consciousness itself, when the compass shows you futures so terrible you want to stop looking, remember Junction 17. Remember that night you met Elara because you were doing your job, paying attention, being exactly who you are." "I will," Dex promised. "Good. Now eat something before Admiral Strand shows up. He's got that look like he needs to brief you on 17 different protocols." As if summoned, Admiral Victor Strand appeared at their table. The station commander looked every one of his 67 years this morning, exhaustion evident in the lines around his eyes, but his bearing remained military straight, his uniform immaculate despite obvious sleep deprivation. "Mr. Holloway, Dr. Voss, Garrett," Strand nodded to each. "May I join you?" "Sir." Dex gestured to the empty seat. Strand sat with visible relief. "I'll be brief. The Lumineth matriarch has confirmed the Nightingale will be ready for departure in 68 hours. War poet Kreshtal's honor guard is assembling, 4 warriors who volunteered for the journey, and I've arranged supply caches at 17 systems along your route." 17, Dex said quietly. The number keeps appearing. "The precursors liked patterns." Strand's expression turned grim. "Which brings me to the difficult part. Representative Zhao withdrew his petition to the council, but he's not done. My intelligence suggests he's forming a separate expedition to search for precursor artifacts independently. Elara's grip on Dex's hand tightened. He can't. The Council chose Dex as seeker. The Council chose Dex as humanity's representative. They can't prevent other humans from searching on their own. Strand pulled out his own data chip. This contains everything I know about Zhao's activities. His funding sources, his contacts, his likely targets. If you encounter him out there, I'll remember he's human, Dex finished. Not an enemy, just someone who made different choices. Strand studied him for a long moment. That's why the matriarch chose correctly. Zhao would have said opponent or rival. You said someone who made different choices. Doesn't mean those choices won't cause problems, Garrett observed. No, Strand agreed. But it means Dex won't become what Zhao already is, someone so certain of their righteousness they can justify anything. An uncomfortable silence settled over the table. Dex sipped his coffee, tasting earth in every molecule. Brazil, sunlight and soil and human hands cultivating beans that would fuel a maintenance worker turned cosmic seeker. There's something else, Strand said carefully. Sarah Chen requested to speak with you before you depart. She says it's important. Dex's stomach tightened. Admiral Chen's sister had been remarkably understanding during their last conversation, but that didn't erase the fundamental truth. Dex had killed her brother. When? Whenever you're ready. She's staying in civilian quarters, Section 7. Strand stood. I'll leave you to your breakfast. We'll handle the formal departure ceremony tomorrow. Just a small gathering, not the political circus some representatives wanted. After Strand left, Garrett refilled Dex's coffee. You going to see her? I have to. Dex stared into the dark liquid. She deserves answers. She deserves to heal, Elara corrected gently, and maybe talking to you helps that process. Or maybe it reopens the wound. Dex looked at his partner. Come with me? Always. They finished breakfast in companionable silence, then made their way through the station's corridors to the civilian residential section. Sarah Chen's quarters were modest, but comfortable. Standard accommodations for visiting family members of station personnel. She answered the door immediately, as if she'd been waiting. At 36, Sarah Chen carried herself with quiet dignity, despite obvious grief. Her Asian features showed exhaustion, but her eyes held steady determination. Mr. Holloway, Dr. Voss, thank you for coming. She gestured them inside. Please sit. The quarters were sparse. Sarah hadn't been here long. But one wall displayed something that made Dex's chest tighten. Photographs of Admiral Chen at various ages. A young officer receiving his commission. A proud brother at Sarah's wedding. A smiling man holding a nephew. Not the corrupted conspirator who died on Cathara. The person he'd been before, certainty consumed him. I wanted you to see those, Sarah said quietly, following Dex's gaze. Wanted you to know who my brother was before he lost himself. I'm so sorry, Dex managed. The words felt inadequate. I know you are. Sarah sat across from them, her hands folded in her lap. I've read his journals 3 times now, every entry from the day he received his commission to the week before Cathara, and I found something I needed to share with you. She pulled out a datapad, scrolling to a specific entry. This was written 3 years ago, right after the Korvathi incident, the translation error that nearly sparked a war. Elara inhaled sharply. That incident had haunted her for years. My brother wrote, "Today I realized I was the only one who saw the full picture. Dr. Voss made an honest mistake, but her doubt nearly cost us everything. The Assembly's hesitation almost let catastrophe happen. From now on, I can't afford to doubt. The galaxy needs leaders who act with certainty." Sarah looked up, her eyes bright with unshed tears. That's when he changed. That's when doubt became weakness in his mind, when he started believing he alone could see the truth. And once that seed took root, she trailed off. It grew until it consumed him, Dex finished softly. Sarah nodded. I'm telling you this because Representative Zhao wrote something similar in a public statement last week. He said, the galaxy needs leaders willing to make hard choices without hesitation, the same language, the same dangerous certainty. Thank you for the warning, Elara said. It's more than a warning. Sarah leaned forward. It's permission. Permission to be afraid, to doubt, to question yourself. Because the moment you stop doing those things, the moment you become certain you're right, you'll have become what my brother became. And I can't. Her voice broke. I can't watch that happen to someone else. Dex crossed to her, kneeling so they were eye level. I promise you, Sarah, if I ever start sounding like your brother did in those journals, Elara will stop me. Garrett will stop me. The precursors themselves will stop me. I won't let certainty consume me. Good. Sarah wiped her eyes. Because my brother would have wanted someone better than him to complete this quest. Someone who stayed human. They talked for another hour. Not about conspiracies or precursor artifacts, but about Chen before corruption. About the brother who'd taught Sarah to ride a bicycle, who'd defended her from bullies, who'd cried at their father's funeral. Dex listened, bearing witness to the man who'd existed before ambition and certainty twisted him into something unrecognizable. When they finally left, Dex felt the weight of responsibility settle deeper. He wasn't just carrying his own choices anymore. He was carrying the hope of everyone who'd been hurt by Chen's corruption. Everyone who needed to believe better outcomes were possible. That was hard, Elara said as they walked back toward their quarters. Necessary, though. Dex squeezed her hand. She needed to say it. I needed to hear it. They spent the rest of the day handling logistics, meeting with the Lumineth matriarch to discuss the Nightingale's specifications, reviewing star charts with Kreshtal, who would serve as their cultural liaison to alien species, coordinating with Admiral Strand about communication protocols and emergency extraction procedures. By evening, Dex's head spun with details. Jump gate coordinates, supply manifests, diplomatic credentials for 43 species, contingency plans for everything from ship failure to hostile encounters. Enough, Elara finally declared, pulling him away from the conference table. Your brain is going to explode. Just trying to prepare, Dex protested weakly. You can't prepare for what we're facing. The compass doesn't care about logistics. She led him to their quarters, to the viewport where this morning had started. What you can do is remember why you're doing this. Dex looked out at the stars. Countless points of light, each one a sun with potential worlds circling it. Somewhere out there, 11 precursor artifacts waited. Tests designed to strip away everything he believed about himself, to force him to choose between remaining human and becoming something transcendent. I'm scared, he admitted. I know. Elara wrapped her arms around him from behind. That's your strength, remember? Fear means you understand the stakes. Doesn't make it easier. Nothing about this will be easy. She rested her chin on his shoulder. But we'll face it together, one artifact at a time, one choice at a time. They stood like that as station night fell, as maintenance shifts changed, as the galaxy continued turning. In 68 hours, they'd board the Nightingale and leave everything familiar behind. But for now, this moment was enough. Dex? Elara's voice was quiet. Yeah? Promise me something. When we're out there facing impossible choices, when the compass shows you futures so terrible you want to stop looking, promise you'll remember this. Us, here now. Just two people holding each other while the stars turn. I promise, Dex said, and somewhere in the darkness between dimensions, the precursors watched with something like hope. The maintenance worker, who'd refused their gift, was about to begin the journey they'd designed 3 million years ago. Not because he was certain he would succeed, but because he understood he might fail, and chose to try anyway.
Thanks for watching our stories. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more epic adventures. Thanks for watching our stories. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more epic adventures.